The big story we're tracking this Thursday afternoon, India has rejected the UN report calling out human rights violations in Jammu and Kashmir. India has termed the report fallacious and motivated and even questioned the intent in bringing out such a report. India has said that the report violates India's sovereignty and territorial integrity and that Pakistan has refused to heed to India's repeated calls to vacate occupied territories, and therefore the report is mischievous, misleading and unacceptable. This is the UN's first of its kind report on human rights violations in Jammu and Kashmir. The report has called for justice for victims on both sides of the LOC. An embarrassment for India. A UN report calls out human rights violations on both sides of the LOC in the Indian-administered Kashmir and the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. India, meanwhile, has rejected the UN report and said that there was no need to bring out a report of such a nature. India has termed the report as fallacious and motivated and questioned the intent behind it. India has said that the report violates India's sovereignty and territorial integrity and that Pakistan has refused to heed to India's repeated calls to vacate occupied territories, and therefore the report is misleading and unacceptable. This is the first time the UN has taken out a report on human rights violations in Jammu and Kashmir. Remember, the UN has released reports on human rights violations in Balochistan and several other territories which we have spoken about earlier as well, disputed territories, so to speak. We have our Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan, who's with us live this afternoon. Geeta, India rejecting the UN report. It's the first of its kind report that speaks of human rights violations on both sides of the LOC in India and in Pakistan.
Well, that's right. Look at the terminology that has been used. Very apt for India to have completely rejected the report, because on the one hand, they're talking about Indian-administered Kashmir, and on the other hand, they're talking about Azad Kashmir instead of saying Pakistan-administered Kashmir. That in itself is an absolute wrong terminology, and India has not just lodged protest, but absolutely calling it a motivated and fallacious report by the UNHRC. The kind of content when it comes to the entire report itself speaks of violations without understanding the nuances and the sensitivities of what is really happening in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. The one good point that we see over here is that they have looked into all territories that belong to Jammu and Kashmir, and Gilgit-Baltistan, which Pakistan is trying to make a fifth province of its own country, is also a part of this report. But India has rejected the report primarily because it is absolutely tilted and motivated towards trying to picture or paint the goings on in Jammu and Kashmir as human rights violations, which is not what the case is. And India has spelled out what India has been doing in terms of the situation on the ground in Jammu and Kashmir.
Right, and Geeta, I want to understand if the UN has released other such reports about human rights violations in Balochistan, for instance, and what has India's response been?
Well, there have been reports that the human rights body time and again on a very regular basis comes out with in terms of other areas, including Balochistan. But this is the first time that the UNHRC has come out with a report on Jammu and Kashmir, and yes, the reports on Balochistan or other parts of the world where they speak about human rights violations, they have spoken of the kind of violations and atrocities that are meted out to people in Balochistan by the Pakistani forces. But over here, India, on the premise on which the entire report has been prepared itself, India is questioning the premise and saying that the way it's been done, the manner in which it has been done, and what is being said by the UN human rights body is absolutely, according to India, fallacious and motivated.
Well, Geeta, thanks so much for that. We're going to keep coming back to you for more.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.